presentation by GMP Architekten. They've been active in, well, they presented their activity in China in 2017 in one of our previous, but they've been in Italy for 27 years. And I met with Mario Pirwitz, who's here. We met yesterday already, from JSWD. I don't know how you pronounce it.
JSWD.
In German.
Keep it in English.
This is the last project we have, and it's a building in the Neuer Kanzlerplatz, which doesn't mean that it's the Neuer Kanzlerplatz, that the Neuer Kanzler they have designed, but it's the name of the Platz, of the place.
It's the name of the place, exactly.
Thank you.
Well, buongiorno. Thank you very much for staying with me at the end of that day. Thank you very much for inviting me. A fantastic conference, I think, so far. And yeah, thanks for staying before the party seems to start down there already anyway. I want to show some of our works and the contribution we feel we can do in terms of sustainability on tall buildings. We are 240 architects based in Cologne, Berlin, and Tampa, Florida. That's the Berlin office. And I want to start with the Neuer Kanzlerplatz in Bonn. That one is the finished project on a very prominent site close to the River Rhine. But on that site used to be a 70s slab building. No chance for pedestrians to really cross that site. Many leftover spaces on that plot. And as you can tell from the image, that really the focus was on car traffic at the time and not on pedestrians or even cyclists. The floor-to-ceiling height didn't allow for an office, for a modern office space at all. So this one had to be demolished. There was no chance to reduce this one for the office use. We suggested in an architecture competition in 2015 to break down the scale of the buildings in three buildings, creating streets and mainly a public piazza in the center of it. And that's really something which could be given back to society on that side. In the center of it, you can hardly see a public piece of art by the Danish artist Jeppe Hein to finish off the project. And how it's designed really at something which we should consider in terms of sustainability as well, as far as we see it. It's not just about the CO2 footprint. It's all perfectly right what has been said today, but we must not forget what we are building for people, and it needs to be accepted by society. We have to get the scale right. We have to incorporate the building into the urban grain, and being respectful and taking project by project to find the right answer. And here at the bottom you can see it was about the pedestrian connections over the site. It's open 24 hours. It's from that piazza we let the buildings cantilever towards that square. It's an inviting gesture. It's very transparent. People have to feel safe and know where they are. And obviously we try to get as much greenery as possible on that plot as well, even if it's all underground car parking below that side as well, as we do have to get trees back into our streets. I mean, you know that better than I do. You are living in Italy, and here you can experience that every day already. So it needs to be considered. That's the top view from what I tried to explain how the green grows into that site as much as possible where we could provide it. And then it's a 100-meter high-rise, as said, cantilevering towards that piazza. We suspended the structure back over 4 floors and brought it down onto these mega columns. To get this impression at the end of the day, very transparent, that was the target for all the buildings. Filling it with life, having cafes and bars on ground floor. Bonn is not New York or London. To get people, to make sure people actually use this square, you have to do quite a lot, I think. And now we start to see that it's actually working. That people stop, use it at the weekends, sit in the sun and so on, and experience that piece of art. And that's a finished project. The low-rise buildings being seen here, and very high-rise.
You obtained the German prize last year for this building.
Yes, that happened, unfortunately, yes. Fortunately as well. Yeah. And the entrance gesture towards the tower. Construction-wise, that had been a challenge as well. The client wanted that the floor plates would be column-free along the internal facade. So it's a load-bearing facade out of white architectural concrete being erected here. And obviously that needed quite a bit of depth, so we have a lot of natural shading on the facade already. And that playful game of these elements which appear different from all kind of angles. On the tower we did something similar with exactly the same recipe for the concrete, but in glass fiber reinforced concrete. These elements are up to 11 meters long on the lower floors and just 15 mil thick. Even from close up, when you visit the site now, you won't be able to tell what's load bearing and what's just covering the structure. With the same technique we used for to finish off the internal with that folded elements. Challenge here was to get them on site and being erected more than 11 meters and end up with a few mil. So that was the challenge here. And this is the ensemble in Bonn. You have Helmut Jahn in the backdrop and Egon Eiermann close to the river, and now us in front. And we really need to be aware of that responsibility we have when designing high-rise buildings. People will see these buildings in their skyline for their lifetime probably, and they are part of their daily life, and especially for the top of the buildings, the crown of it, we have to make sure to get it right. I mean, it's, as said, it's not just CO2 footprint, it's about, well, at the end of the day, it's about beauty as well. There should not be advertisement at the top of our buildings, as we feel. And here we could make sure that we have this double height glazing, even towards the lavatories and the plant rooms. They are 7 meters high, 2.5 meters wide, and weight more than 2 tons, and cover the entire top floor. And that's us filling half of that space. And in Vienna, we did something similar. It's always about connecting the site. I go through that very quickly if you allow for that. We have to break down the scale in an architectural competition together with BE, HF from Vienna together. making sure we get these connections right. We have a two-story shopping mall on the lower part, and the buildings needed to cantilever across the pedestrian walkways to get that massing onto the site, and also giving people orientation, giving transparency, making sure people feel safe, and have that orientation inside a shopping mall as well. So for us it was majorly important that you, even when you look up, you still know where you are inside a shopping mall. And now a lot more current. These are buildings which have been finished already. Now we are working on Haraldstrasse in Düsseldorf. That is a timber hybrid, more than it's about 110 meters high. Currently the tallest timber hybrid in Germany, being in planning, probably in Europe as well. And that one really is about twisting these volumes of both buildings and getting the greenery up the facade and onto the roof for the low-rise, but for the tower as well. And how we want to do that is inspired by that head you can see in the middle of that image. For the lower part, you know, you have a sun shading, and to the rear, you make sure you get as much natural light as possible into the floor plates. Towards the south, we do. I keep going quickly. You stop me when it's over. I just thought it's relevant as we talked about what's changing in high-rise buildings at the moment, but just say stop and it's enough. That is almost over. Is towards the south, it's photovoltaic. When it continues east and west, and to the north, we will have the opportunity to incorporate the planting here as well. And the very last I wanted to say, that's a timber hybrid structure as said on that one. But not every brief is that sexy that we can have a new built high-rise in the middle of our cities. Has been spoken about it earlier as well. We have to look into refurbishments as well. I can stop at any point. Borough Heppelt did show Canary Wharf earlier. It's the same thing. First of all, we need to look into these buildings. Can we keep them to have a built mass used? And if it's transferred from office space to residential, that can work, as you can keep the floor to ceiling heights. And that's always a challenge with the flow tower left-hand side in Cologne, and these are the finished projects. In Cologne, the challenge was the existing structure and the geometry of the building. All these metal columns, they tried to save material at the time, again in the 70s, and every volume which we wanted to get into the building, we had to take out beforehand as well. And that's it. Balconies on top, strengthening structure. That's done. And in Frankfurt, different situation. We had to cut back the concrete structure. A lot of effort, high pressure water jetting to do so, and at the end of the day you see the reinforcement isn't where you expect it to be. But for the client it was worth it. They end up getting a lot of residential units in a popular space in Frankfurt, and you can enjoy the skyline and so on. Thank you very much, and thanks for saying.
Congratulations on the